Welcome in, friends, to another episode of Sports from the Couch here on the Mercado Airwaves Network. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, and thank you for joining us on this Week 3 of the NFL schedule as we make our confidence picks on CBSSports.com. And we jump right into it. If you're joining us on YouTube or on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves, enjoy watching the video of us making our picks and putting the points on them. If you're listening to us on the podcast, thank you for supporting us. Make sure you give us 5 stars, like, rate, review, and share us. We really appreciate it. Let's get right into it, friends. Let's start off with Tennessee at Jacksonville in the Thursday night matchup. I'm going to go Tennessee on this one, even though you have to think at some point Jacksonville is going to have to start winning some games. Their stash quarterback is not going to be able to win this one. I think Tennessee goes out for a victory on Thursday. Atlanta against the Colts. I'm going to go Atlanta on this one. Detroit versus Philadelphia. At Philadelphia, we'll go Philly. Miami at Dallas. Everybody's picking Dallas. Again, this is a scenario where I'm going to pick them on this, but I don't know if you are in any survivor leagues, if I would pick Dallas. Just too many people are picking them. So it doesn't make any gambling or any strategic sense to go with Dallas in a survivor league, but definitely in a confidence, you have to go with Dallas on them. Oakland and Minnesota, we'll go with Minnesota. Cincinnati against Buffalo. Cincinnati, very interesting. Andy Dalton's offense looks pretty decent, but Buffalo's defense, and I think Josh Allen are going to run all over Cincinnati, so we'll go Buffalo on this one. The Jets at New England. Again, look at another one that's 100%. We'll go with New England on this one. Obviously, the Jets are going to be struggling without both of their quarterbacks now. Denver going to Green Bay. We'll go with Aaron Rodgers and his Packers. Denver's offense, it doesn't exist, so that'd be interesting to see how that plays out. We have Baltimore against Kansas City. This is interesting. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, a very fun matchup. I definitely think the Kansas City's offense is going to overpower Baltimore's really good defense. But, a stop here or there, a crucial interception, Baltimore is definitely going to be in this game. And it's not like Kansas City's defense is any type of world beater, so they're definitely going to be competitive. But I'll go Kansas City in this matchup just because they have more weapons. But this is going to be a close matchup. I don't think this 89 to 11% matchup is a very good window of what this matchup will be. You have the Panthers visiting the Cardinals. I don't think Cam Newton's going to end up playing. If he does, he's going to be limited. So, they're obviously go all over Christian McCaffrey, which sucks for my fantasy team. I'm going to go with the Cardinals on this one as well at home. The Giants taking on Tampa Bay. We'll go Tampa Bay. I think Mike Evans is going to feast all over these guys. The Saints without Drew Brees taking on the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. You got to go Seattle. I will say this much, though. You have the quarterbacks of Teddy Bridgewater and I forgot his first name, but Hill, the running quarterback, the specialist quarterback. Don't be surprised that they do run the offense pretty well. Mike Evans is still going to get Michael Thomas is still going to get his touches for the New Orleans Saints. So, even though I'm definitely still going with Seattle because they're at home, I don't know if New Orleans is going to have as bad of a drop back as you would have if you were, say, Arizona or some of these others, somebody who has like Mike Lennon as their backup, like in Oakland or something, So I think this one for New Orleans, it doesn't get much worse than losing Drew Brees, but we'll see if they can stay afloat. But I'm going with Seattle in this matchup. Houston against the Chargers in LA. This is going to be a very fun matchup. I'm going to go with Chargers losing at Detroit. Houston with the win. I'm going to go with Houston in this matchup. I actually like the Chargers a lot. I picked the Chargers to win the Super Bowl last year, and they broke my heart, so I'm going to go with Houston in this matchup. Pittsburgh without Ben Roethlisberger, one of the two big quarterbacks that were lost last week, going to the Bay against San Francisco, take out Jimmy Garoppolo. San Francisco looks okay. Richard Sherman is the ageless wonder. It's an interesting matchup. I'm going to go with San Francisco. I think Pittsburgh, they like their quarterback, but I don't. Again, you're traveling all the way to the West Coast. You're coming off of losing Big Ben. San Francisco that offense with Shanahan does seem to know how to run the ball. Jimmy Garoppolo does like his receivers, and they are getting back into rhythm. So I'm going to go with San Francisco in this matchup. You have the Rams taking on the Cleveland Browns on Sunday Night Football. If you can't get enough Cleveland Browns football on national television, we have some more for you. I'm going to go with the Rams going to Cleveland and winning this one. Although, again, Jared Goff, his difference between home and road, those splits are pretty crazy. So it's going to be interesting to see if Cleveland can bounce back. But I'm going to go with the Rams in this matchup. And finally, on Monday Night Football, the Chicago Bears against the Washington Redskins. The Chicago Bears beating up, well, should I say beating up? Finally finding a kicker and winning a damn game and beating up our souls and our spirits for 4 quarters, essentially. And I'm going to go with the Bears on this one. I actually think they're going to pass, and they're going to run all over this Washington secondary. I think they have 10 players on IR already, and this is the 3rd week of the season. So I like Chicago in this matchup. I think you're going to see this offense open up a little bit, and at the very least, you're going to see Matt Nagy try to run the offense so that Mitchell Trubisky doesn't make any mistakes and that they're in it, because this is a top-tier defense. So as long as you're in it and you have a kicker that can make his kicks and you have a possession receiver like Allen Robinson, you're always kind of in the game. But I would like to see Taylor Gabriel get open. I would like to see Anthony Miller get used more in the game. Obviously, Tariq Cohen will be really interesting since he's not really running the ball anymore, how they're not defending him as just a gadget player, as just a receiving running back. And David Montgomery needs to be part of this offense, needs more touches. So I'm going to go with Chicago in this matchup. So why don't we go ahead, and now that we've run down picks, let's put our confidence number on them. I think we're going to go with New England at 16 points. That's an easy one, right? At 15 points, we'll go with Dallas at Dallas. So why don't we go with Green Bay over Denver with 14 points? Why don't we go with... See, I would put more points on Minnesota, but I don't like Kirk Cousins and what that offense has done. Philadelphia, you know what? Philly. I'll go with Philly, who made a comeback against Atlanta. I'll put Philly with 13 points. This is where it gets a little bit more interesting. Daniel Jones, the rookie quarterback, making a start over Eli Manning against Tampa Bay. It'll be interesting, but going to Tampa Bay, I think, you know what, I'm not going to put him up that high. I'm going to wait off on that just a little bit. Let's see we go down a little bit more. How about we go with Chicago over Washington? I'll put a couple points on that. You know what, I'm willing to bet a little bit more on the Bears in this matchup. I'll put 13 points on the Bears over Washington. Why don't we take up Seattle at Seattle with 12 points. Let's just put that with 11 points, excuse me. And then we'll put 11, and then we'll put 10 on Minnesota over Oakland. We'll put 9 on Tennessee over Jacksonville. We'll put, you know what, I'll switch that up. I'll put 9 on Atlanta over Indianapolis, and I'll put 8 on Tennessee over Jacksonville. I will put 7 on San Francisco over Pittsburgh. I'll put 6 on Tampa Bay over the Giants. You know what? I'll put Buffalo a little bit. No, you know, I'll put Buffalo at 6 points, and I'll put Tampa Bay at 5 points because I still don't trust Tampa Bay. I'll put 4 points on Kansas City over Baltimore because I think that game could actually go either way. I'll put 3 points on Arizona over Carolina. I'll put 2 points on the Houston over the Chargers, and I'll put 1 point on the Rams over Cleveland. You know what? I'm going to put that a little bit higher. I'm going to put that up to... Let's put that higher. Let's put that right at 5 points. So let's run this down, guys, and then we'll head on out of here. At 16 points, I have the New England Patriots over the New York Jets at New England. At 15 points, I have Dallas at home beating the Dolphins. At 14 points, I have the Packers beating the Broncos at Green Bay. At 13 points, I have Philadelphia over Detroit at Philly. At 12 points, I have the Bears over Washington in Washington. With 11 points, I have Seattle at home against the Saints. At 10 points, I have Minnesota over Oakland at Minnesota. With 9 points, I have Atlanta beating the Colts at Indianapolis. With 8 points, I have the Titans over Jacksonville in Jacksonville. With 7 points, I have the Niners over the Steelers in the Bay. With 6 points, I have Buffalo over Cincinnati in Buffalo. With 5 points, I have the Rams beating Cleveland in Cleveland. With 4 points, I have the Buccaneers over the rookie and the Giants in Tampa Bay. With 3 points, I have the Chiefs over the Baltimore Ravens in a very close game. With 2 points, I have the Arizona Cardinals over the Carolina Panthers in Arizona. And with 1 point, I'm picking Houston over the Chargers in Los Angeles. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this edition of Sports from the Couch NFL Week 3 Confidence Picks. We really appreciate you guys joining us. You can follow me on Twitter at mmercado2333. Follow the network on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe, rate, review, like, and share us wherever you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Come visit us on patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, where you get our interviews ad-free and before anybody else with athletes and celebrities. That's patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Thank you so much. Enjoy all the games. We'll see you next time here on the Mercado Airwaves Network, here on Sports from the Couch. I'm Mike Mercado.